Can I have the screen? Can I have the screen? Your screen, please.
I give you screenshot lah.
Yeah, like screen for everyone, like opera. Yeah. So
Welcome to KSDL.
Hello.
Hi.
It has been a while.
Yes, it's been a while. I'm Adila here.
I'm Shen.
So if you guys notice, we have a bit of a lull period because we've been a bit busy. So now we are just catching up on life and on each other.
We also want to share that we actually got donations
Yay.
for our podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Actually,
you,
it's very
thank you.
funny because, okay, so PSA, we actually have a donation platform
Yes.
on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Kiasu Design Live. Yeah, so actually we secretly set it up because both of us has this dilemma. Do we want to
Monetizing the podcast.
or like just asking for donations? Because I think once you tag a $sign to our work, we are worried that it will change the dynamic of us and the audience. Like when people donate, are they expecting more or better work from us, and then will we feel stressed or not? So actually it was a very passive thing. We just put it at the bottom of the show notes, like if you want to support us, then you can donate to us.
Yeah, meaning we didn't really purposely push it or keep promoting it.
We never even post on IG or LinkedIn or anything because we were really worried that it will change the dynamics, right? And then somehow people found it also. Yeah, so I was quite surprised. First of all, they even clicked more on the show notes to go and read, and they even found the coffee link. Remember, I was on my way home, I was taking a train, and then I saw an email coming in. Then it says Hanli donated to your coffee. Then I was like, what the?
It's a nice feeling.
It's a nice feeling, yeah.
Please.
Okay, we want to thank two very generous listeners.
Yeah, supporters. I guess we can call them supporters.
Supporters, yeah. So one of them is Hanli, who is our first supporter. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanli.
And then the second one
is Yuan Kai.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Our pioneer supporters on Ko-fi.
Yes. And you can also leave a comment when you donate to us, which is very cute lah. So that's what Yuan Kai did also.
Yeah. So if you guys are curious to know what these donations end up being used for, basically it helps us with hosting the episodes. Because, all this requires cost. It's not free lah. Basically, we pride on making sure that we have quality for our episodes. So we even want to make sure that it's being kept and backed up properly.
I think hosting is the one that is a recurring expense.
Correct.
Whatever the case, however you show your support, like your generosity will definitely be broadcasted in our next episode.
Definitely one. You want us to play you a nice song for you after your name also can. like the pew pew pew.
Like, thank you Hanli and Yuan Kai. Pew, 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 pew.
Yes.
Okay, let's just jump into today's topic. So we are tackling a topic that a lot of designers may have felt it already. So especially those who are
more
working
than 3 to 5 years of experience.
So you already dabbled quite some time in the UX industry.
I will feel it's more of a mid-level to senior level onwards.
So I think this episode is nice for all experiences, because if you're kind of fresh into a UX, then you can hear from the very jaded ones. It's also nice for jaded ones because it's for them to relate.
To relate and reflect. To relate and reflect and gossip.
It's like,
and for the new designer, it's more for them to be aware and be street smart about it. Like, okay, this is going to happen to me eventually.
So like recently Alistair also sent a meme to me saying that I want a design podcast for people who hate design but also work in design but also love design.
Is that us?
So I think this episode is kind of similar to that, because it's like, yes, we love design, but yes, we also kind of hate how sometimes designers have to work.
And we expected this, but yes, this is the reality of it.
So the topic for today is rock hard truths about the UX industry. So working as a UX profession.
So how did you end up with this topic?
I've actually followed a few subreddits on UX design because need opinions to form my own opinion.
What were you doing when you were browsing?
I browse on Reddit while I need some
way...
rage in my life. Now I'm like, okay, let me feed on the public's opinion. So yeah, that's a very nice place to just get enraged. But then sometimes you'll find gold and then there was this one Redditor who posted asking what is a hard truth about a UI UX career you felt after entering 8 years later. Yeah, and there were a lot of comments. And it gets me going back also because I want to find some points that I can really relate to.
Yeah.
And then there was also a separate thread talking about what do you think is an uncomfortable truth about this profession that often goes undiscussed. So I think it's a bit of expectations versus reality.
Yes. Yeah. We decided let's not just get the facts from Reddit. We also want to ask from our listeners as well. So what we did was we did a Q&A on IG to actually discover what we think about this topic.
Okay, so
for the first quote we have is by ghost_in_the_moonlight. So the quote says that your team will likely not respect you or your work. Lol.
The lol is a nice touch.
Yeah.
Agree.
I half agree. Maybe because I've not experienced it personally. So maybe why do you agree? Do you strongly agree or just agree?
I don't strongly agree because I think it's also it depends kind of scenario.
Yes. I think mine will be it depends. Okay.
Okay.
So why do you agree?
I agree because I do think there are still a lot of people who think that design is an easy job. So if you compare in a technical setting, definitely they think that developers are more technical. Developers has more skill in it. Whereas like I do think that sometimes people always say everyone can be a designer, right? I kind of think that this quote bites us back.
Yeah.
In a way that people feel that your job is quite easy. You just come out with designs. Yeah, so maybe in that sense, if they don't try to understand what other things that we do, then they may not respect us.
To that point, actually, I just realized something, especially when people don't really respect designers, right? So what happens is, let's say there's a timeline crunch, they instead of squeezing the developer, they squeeze the designers first.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they
will think I agree.
They will think of it as rush okay lah. Designers cut down 2 days. You rush you OT, for example. Or maybe for example, another example can be maybe this person is not someone who does design but assumes design is simple, so they will just go to you, hey, this one you just do your design magic can get it done by today, right? Totally no respect to you of your time, or you have other projects to do, or they just assume that you just use your whatever tool that you used to do lah. It's like trying to tell a chef how to cook, something like that.
I do kind of agree lah. They would rather ask a designer to do more throwaway work than getting an engineer to do it. Yeah. My other thinking is I think because sometimes a designer may not have a strong point of view. They tend to become following, like executors. They follow instructions. And that's how I experienced last time also. Because I think I was a bit scared to voice out because sometimes the discussion may be a bit too technical or maybe a bit too business centric. And I know for sure myself that I'm not fully equipped with the understanding of either business or technical, or maybe sometimes even I don't really know if I can fully represent a customer. So I tend to just shut up and be more passive in the team meeting. And I think in this case, it's also on you to elevate yourself, right? To kind of build your identity as a designer in the team for others to respect you. So I think it really goes both ways.
I feel like if in meetings you seem to be more proactive and then raising your opinions or asking questions, that's why people will start to see you as someone who is thinking, who is not just resting or just laid back and just chilling out waiting for instructions. They will think of you as, this person is trying to be more involved and trying to solve the problem together,
can steer the conversation.
But I understand what you mean by you just quiet down because it happened to me before, because I'm just not confident to say anything. I don't want to say the wrong thing. And also because if let's say you ask the wrong question or you say the wrong thing, it will make you look bad.
a lot of times we don't say things because we are worried that we say the wrong things. But I think the cost of that is people's respect for you. So that's the first point. Okay, the second point is by Zodi, who is our listener. Yay. Thanks for responding to our Q&A.
Thanks, Zodi.
She says advocating for UX is a perennial part of the job.
Yes, definitely. If let's say the company doesn't really fully understand what is UX, they have a certain misconception to it, and then you have to be the one to correct them.
Okay, so I think maybe she typed this because what we learn in the design, they don't teach us how we should advocate for our job.
Correct.
Then when we get into a job or when we get into an organization, then we realize that, how come the way they treat us, it seems a bit mismatched. It doesn't seem like how, my tutors didn't teach me. I
think there are basically two reasons. So first is basically because UX is such a new industry. All these people are not familiar. So what they do is they just associate you with what is the closest to you. They'll just think, oh, UX is it like web designer? Okay, web designer lah. Oh, UX oh, is it a graphic designer? So I just treat you as a graphic designer. And secondly, I think also they are just ignorant. They refuse to acknowledge that you as a UX designer, these are the things that you care about. They just worry about what they want to achieve. You get what I mean?
To be honest, I think the advocating for your role, right, is for everyone. Because I do think, when I speak to my software engineers friends or co-workers, a lot of times I also realize that actually what I think they do, right, is very tip of the iceberg of what they actually do.
Okay.
So it's also on them to kind of advocate what they do also. For example, when I work on mobile app, then I didn't know that actually coming up with the designs, right, like putting our designs into the mobile application, it's just a very small part of the whole process. What's behind is a lot of
the logic,
the end-to-end tests. They need to run a lot of tests to make sure that they don't break anything. Or maybe sometimes it requires back-end changes. Then they need to work with the back-end team, or like if they are full stack, then they need to work on the back end itself lah. So it's a lot of this hidden work that we also don't know. So I think it's the same as
design,
our work also. Because sometimes our output is just the screen, right? Every time like we work with others, they will always say, can I have the screen? Can I have the screen? Your screen, please.
I give you screenshot lah.
Like screen for everyone, like Oprah.
But out the screen and pass it to them.
What's behind the screen is a lot of thinking.
Yes, a lot of thinking, a lot of trial and error.
Correct. A lot of testing. We also got testing with the customers, but maybe we don't show it. But how do we also let people know that this is a fundamental part of our process lah?
Actually, to add to that, right, sometimes the most simplest design can have the most complicated process behind it. Like to get to that point of design which looks flawless, or not flawless, more like it looks idiot proof. It just looks like it makes sense. Anybody can use it. It takes a long process to get there. And these people are not aware of it. They just look at it. So simple lah.
You disappear 3 days and come out with this one button.
Or maybe it's such a simple screen, just one function. Then we'll be like, no, this went through a lot of thinking process.
But I think it's also, how can you also show your process without being too in your face? To be more critical about this point, another perspective is that I also don't think you should over advocate about UX.
How what's an example?
So I think some designers in organizations who just go around and telling people designers are not just this designer. They try to be overly advocating about the design role. Is a little, it can come across as a little too insecure. So because I wonder if you just do your job properly and you find the right balance of showing your process, like can that already be advocating?
I would think so, because when you are highlighting the best feature, or you do like a summary or highlights of your process, right? People understand it, and then from there they will see the meaning or the value behind the design. And if it helps them to understand, they will appreciate the design work even more. But I agree with Julie's point that sometimes it's on us also
to just help people be aware of the full scope of what we can do as a UX designer. All right, next one.
So by Sangeeta, who was also one of our guests on our podcast and also a listener.
Hello.
Hi. Her quote is basically, many companies still feel that investing in UX early is a cost instead of an investment.
Sad face. Yes, I agree. Okay, depends on what investing in UX means. Because I think that it can be a bit broad.
Yeah. So
I guess, let's say, okay, for example, the CPO may just come in and say, okay, let's just throw this solution out. Maybe you will kind of push back and you say, let's think through this. Or like, do we want to research? Just like try to understand like the mindset of the customers first before throwing out this solution. Yeah, but maybe they think that, okay, it's a bit waste of time.
Yeah, correct. To my perspective, it's more of they see it as they want to save time and they want to save costs. So maybe to them, instead of investing in UX, I rather invest in the best engineer or the best team, the best engineering team, to come up with whatever solution that they have, and then they just put up with that. Then UX is like a later thing, something that we can adjust later.
Yeah, I think a lot of their mindset is like, because when I just come with a solution, I'm showing output.
Yeah, correct.
And then maybe to them, they think that, like I might as well spend my efforts to come up with a solution and test the water, get reactions from the public, right? Than to hide behind the scenes and then doing all this research.
In terms of like the business perspective, right, I would think why they do it this way is because one is maybe they want to have something to show their efforts for during their sales pitch to whoever, their investors or whoever, right? And then the second one is basically maybe they just want to show like they're doing something. And maybe UX takes time. Time. And then UX is more like, where are deliverables? Yeah, we have our research insights. And it's not as obvious. Yeah, but let's say if you have something like from the engineering point of view, and then they produce something with some beta testing, and then you deploy a dev link, or at least it's something is there. Yeah, they can test it out, they can share with their potential investors, they can share with their potential customers or whatever not. Yeah.
It's like I really agree. A lot of companies, they shy away from research, or they frown on research, because a lot of times research may seem like, you put a lot of work in it with very small follow-up actions. I don't know what to do with your findings.
Yeah. Precisely.
All right, next. Okay,
this is by you.
It's actually by a person called Xuan.
I wonder who this person is.
And she says that your design lead defines your quality of life in the organization.
Jeng.
What do you think?
Agree.
Sometimes I feel like really your design leader is responsible to sell the value of design or position the designers in the organization. So sometimes there are design leaders that may not be able to do that very well. When you come in as a designer, you are being labeled as that
Yeah.
And then no matter how much you try to advocate for design, it's just a bit tougher,
because your lead does not
advocate that for you when they have a stronger power to do that.
I see the design lead as the door, the entryway for people to perceive design a certain way. If let's say the design lead doors is closed, and then it's not obvious for people to see how important design is, then it's impossible for us to push through that door.
Because what you demonstrate as a design leader, right, is also kind of enabling the people in your team.
Yeah, your followers. I mean, your designers.
Your sheep, your designers lah. Yeah, so I think knowing your design leader is also very crucial, and like knowing like what impact do they bring to the organization. It does give you a lot of leverage in the organization. And also I think, truth to be told, they are also then able to kind of sell you pimp you out during the performance review.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it is different when you are trying to so-called praise yourself or tell people, I've done this and it, compared to someone else who has more power in the organization, telling other people, this designer under my team has been doing this. The significance of value outweighs whatever that you have to say about yourself.
Yeah,
because this is someone else commenting about you.
Right. Then the next quote by a Redditor called Morphcore, he or she says that you will be hired to bring your professional expertise to the table just to be overruled by a PO with a quote-unquote gut feeling. I mean, I don't really care. I just get paid either way. But boy, this is an expensive way to operate.
By the gut.
I had an experience like this. Yeah, so it's like when you are being asked to help develop a design. And then you, like, maybe you spend some time to come up with a designs, with the flows, and then the key screens, and then after that the product owner or the product manager can come in and just overrule and say that, okay, so maybe let's just go with another option.
Similar as well. Like we've spent weeks on this certain feature or design, only to be told, oh, it's been cancelled or it's been postponed or whatever. I think most designers go through this.
And maybe that goes back to the respect for you and your work. And
also, other than respect, it also boils down to don't be too attached to your work.
Yes, also, I think you need to be comfortable with the fact that there's will be a lot of throwaway designs. I mean, you definitely have to respect the business lah. Maybe it's just not the right design for the right time.
Correct. But one thing I like about having this, even though there's throwaway designs, right? Good design leads actually, or good project managers will be nice enough to say, I know you spent some time on this design, but we're not going to use it. But
maybe you can keep it, frame it,
park it somewhere else. We can use it in another way, something like that.
And then 10 years later, it's still sitting there collecting dust. It's like, I wonder when it will be used.
Virtual dust.
No, you should create a section in Figma called parking lot or like storeroom, and then that section should like have virtual dusts after months. Like,
They should have this feature.
It goes to show how long the design has been sitting there. And then for you to retrieve the design, right? You need a virtual
even better. On top of that, right? Like if it goes on years, there'll start be spider cobwebs on it. And then right, okay, even better. Every October during Halloween, they can come up with these designs.
Haunt the PO.
Like during Halloween, if they have like some Halloween celebration in the organization, right? And then they put designs on display, like old designs are covered with spider cobwebs. You get what I mean?
Oh no, it should be a Harry Potter scene.
All the
photo frames of the design.
And
then when you walk past it, then you can talk to the design. It's like, I used to be great. I was about to be shipped to millions of users.
The title of design will be like, put the date down there, and then like, what was it for? When was it abandoned?
No, the cause of that. Gut feeling.
Gut feeling.
This point becomes so ridiculous. Okay, so but what was the essence of this point?
It was about designs being tucked away.
Oh yeah. Actually, I remember using this term squishy quite a few times as a designer also. So I sometimes I do feel like our designs are very squishy. Meaning like you are being asked to come up with designs and then just for them to get thrown away or like discarded by other functions. Or you may seem like you're just working so much in the design, then you become kind of isolated from everyone else. So I feel like a good point is to really just constantly check in with cross-functional roles. Or just check in, feasibility check in or viability check in with the business people or with the PM to make sure that you're on the right track to reduce your chances of having thrown away designs.
Okay, so when you mean by checking in with the cross-functional people, right? The check-in as in meeting check-in or like just pull them by the side, hey, can you come over and look at my design? Is this what you have in mind?
So what I do now is I will always have a meeting check-in to make things more official.
So it's a formal check-in
to kind of just plot some milestones and force yourself to not get too engrossed in your design process.
And it becomes a throwaway design.
Yes, is to just preemptively send like even 15-30 minutes quick check-in with engineers or PMs.
And this happens like on a weekly basis.
Depends on the timeline. I feel.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
so
how
urgent
the project is lah. And how urgent the project is.
Yeah, but I will always make it a point to have these check-ins with them. One is to show that you care about them. Yeah, because sometimes they may have this sense that, designers may need their time to come up with the best design
then they
possible.
just push you away for like 1 to 2 weeks. Then they expect you to come back on the third week like with magic,
with a framed up sparkling design,
Yeah, or prototype, even worse.
Yeah, or working prototype. Yeah, so it's really just to force that cross collaboration and communication going on. So I think that may help.
And to add to your point, right, I think it's a good idea to do that also, because if let's say you are maybe 2 or 3 weeks ahead of having a more official meeting, maybe with more people, more stakeholders. So when you have this kind of meeting with the cross-functional people ahead of that bigger meeting, so during that meeting, when you showcase your designs, at least you have the support of these cross-functional people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Correct,
yes.
right? Yeah.
It's really about working together. Yeah, because I think last time, like, I used to be very pissed off also, because you come out with like a lot of edge cases. You need to work out the flows, right?
Yeah.
Then you come up with edge cases. So your design, you present this key screen, but this key screen works in different states.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you never check in with the developers, and then once we have this like huge meeting when everyone comes together, and then the developers say one thing like, "Oh, cannot be done," and then you're just, huh?
It's either cannot be done, or the designer never sent me anything, or blaming on the designer. It ends up the whole meeting shift to, okay, can the designer present your screen, or then you panic and you'll be like,
sorry, can I share my screen?
Didn't we discuss this? Why they suddenly shared? Why they suddenly spotlight to me?
Yeah, so I always have to come prepared. Yeah. I think another point about this is also because I do think that sometimes the hours we put into our work is not well documented. That's why it's very easily stepped over. Yeah, because for developers, they have almost this very structured way of working and documenting their work. Like, they even have this thing called how many story points of work per week or per iteration. Yeah, so it's almost like don't disturb the engineers unless absolutely necessary. Whereas for designers, we don't have this way of capturing our work. But I think we also don't want it to be too rigid. Yeah, so it's because of that, the other roles may not be able to appreciate the work that we have put in.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's easier for them to just say, oh, let's not go with that. Then, okay, can you come up with the design again?
Okay, so for our next quote, we have from, how do I pronounce his name?
He
Xiang, who says, low-hanging fruit. That's it. The quote just says these 3 words. Correct us if we are wrong, but usually in organization, they just want to go for the low-hanging fruits first. Yeah, they want to tackle that first. So maybe they don't really prioritize like a proper way of doing research and then ideate that whole process, but they'll just see what needs to be done, what is on fire, settle that first. Which
I think is okay there, because I do think like design can also thrive in there. We can also contribute as UX designers to come up with low-hanging fruit. In fact, I think thinking of low-hanging fruit is way more fun. How do we, with the least effort, come up with the highest impact solution? Like that part of brainstorming, trying to find out like opportunity space and then a solution, that part is pretty fun for me.
I would think the low-hanging fruit in a sense is more of to help also the designers to get your feet wet into the work itself. For example, if you are very new to the project and then you are not very familiar with the topic or with the scope or feel of that project, so you want to have a feel of it first, so you tackle the low-hanging fruit first.
I think I have another point about this low-hanging fruit. I do agree that, sometimes you have this design, and then you go into a meeting or discussion with a cross-functional team, right? And then they will say, can we have the design with a lesser effort for developers?
Like an alternate version.
yes, that requires lesser effort, because maybe when you show this design and then the developer may say, oh, okay, this one is a bit more complex. Are we able to somewhat come up with the copywriting? Yeah, like inform the customer, because we cannot put a tooltip. Copywriting is the easiest way for us to is the cheapest way for us. Yeah, that I think a lot of times you always meet with this kind of discussions. Like your design is nice, but it just cannot be done with the given resources. If that's what he meant with the low hanging fruit, I totally agree.
Okay, so our next point is by me. My quote is, an effective team dynamic takes time and compassion / empathy. Yeah. So why I say this, basically I feel that team dynamics is very important to ensure the effectiveness and cohesiveness of working together, because you are in a way you are working together 5 days a week, 8 hours straight on end. Surely you want to work with someone that you can gel with, can work well with. Yeah. And also because I feel that two heads are always better than one. If let's say you're working on alone as a designer, like they just throw you to one side to work on the design 1 to 2 weeks straight, you are just like in this endless loop of overthinking and narrow thinking. But if let's say you open up yourself to be not really
soundboard lah.
Yeah, soundboard. Having a soundboard, you have someone cross-functional coming in and then giving their opinion or maybe giving their feedback, and then it opens up possibilities of maybe certain solutions that you can never think of until that person mentions something. Yeah, because as a designer, you have such a limited thinking in that space. But if someone from that other cross-functional team comes in and then they have more domain knowledge of that thing, right? And then you come in as a designer, you merge together, wow, create sparkles.
One other point is people really never teach you how to speak to other roles, how to work with other roles, because you as a designer working with PM is also it's a different dynamic compared to you working with a developer. So for example, it's better for you to understand how they work, the language that they speak. So I think being able to have that deep understanding of what is the most comfortable way to work with them. Yeah, because sometimes PMs may be a bit more
busy.
Busy. They may be a bit more logical thinking. Yeah, so they may care about the business as well. They may care about the project timeline as well. All right. Okay, so the last point is by Alistair, who is also a guest on our show.
Yes.
And also a huge supporter as well.
Thank you.
So he says that UX is one of the most boxed and least creative design.
I somewhat agree.
I also Actually, when I saw this, I find myself like subtly nodding. I think because UX, it's more logical thinking.
Yes.
Definitely I think it depends on what you want to compare it with. Yeah, so if you want to compare it to like, let's say, marketing design, or like, let's say, other creative works, like just pure visual design or graphic design, then definitely it's less, there's more constraints that you need to adhere to.
Yeah.
But then again, I think that's also the reason why a lot of visual designers or graphic designers career transit to being a UX.
Yeah.
So I've spoken to some of such designers, and that's exactly the reason why, because sometimes it may be too creative, then there is a lot of personal opinions.
Very subjective basically.
Yeah, extremely subjective and less scientific.
Less constructive.
Yeah, sometimes it may just be the voice of the highest earner
correct.
table, like hippo,
Yeah, the hippo. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
So they had a bad experience with that. So that's why they switched to UX.
Yeah. Maybe to them it's a balance of creativity and logical thinking. Previously, we spoke about design being a bit squishy. Yeah, because sometimes it really boils down to personal opinion. Everyone has different takes, like based on your background or your bias. I don't know if there's any graphic designers or visual designers, or used to be. I also wonder if your designs are way more squishier than UX designers.
So for me is I did a mix of graphic design. I did visual design, web design. So I would say that we had a bit more opportunities to be more creative, depending on the needs of our clients. So if let's say the project, maybe the target audience is parents, and it's for children, little kids. So we get to be more creative in terms of the usage of colors, typography, and all this.
Right.
Yeah. I hope that is what Alistair means by being least creative design lah. Basically, because as you know, for UX, it's more of simplifying things. It's always about how the design is being used by the user, how easy it is for the user. But in the lens of graphic and web design, it's more of how attractive it can be to attract the attention of the user, to stay on the page longer, to shop more, to click more.
That's why I make it pop.
Yeah, you have these kind of terms. Yeah, make it pop, make it look more sexy.
Right.
Yeah.
In my experience also, maybe consumer apps give you that space more to be creative as a UX designer.
Yeah.
So if you compare like B2B products or like enterprise products versus consumer apps, maybe consumer apps then has more ways to be creative. But then again, I can also argue that creativity is not just the visual stuff, right? Yeah, it could also be how do you come up with a solution with the given constraints. To me, that's creativity. Yeah, that's why I personally love to work in B2B.
Doesn't have to be visually creative, but creative. I get what you mean.
Yeah, so I think there's two like facets to creativity lah.
Okay, I think that wraps up our points.
All the hard truths about the UX profession.
I feel like I just had a therapy session with you.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I think it's always nice to be able to pour. Maybe sometimes we have been working in this profession for quite some time, and you definitely have some inkling towards this profession.
Like for me personally, when we were going through the categories, right, and the different points, there's certain parts of it made me recall a certain memory of what I went through. That's how I was able to like
the PO, is it gut feeling PO?
Yes. Other than that, I've got others lah. But basically, when we hit a certain point, it suddenly made me recall a certain memory, and then from there, it felt fresh, even though it's been some time. So then that's why I was able to narrate it to you. Then after narrating it to you of what happened, and then when I gave you my point of view, and then I listened from your point of view, and it became to a point where I realized, okay, that was what happened. Now I'm reflecting on it. Okay, this what could have been done better. So that was what was happening to me just now. Like, okay, what could have been better? Yeah. Then we are hoping also, but like when we are sharing all these points to our audience, they are also learning, ma.
Yeah. Okay.
So, do you guys agree with our points, or do you have anything to add? Feel free to let us know.
There's just one thing we want to like share with you all. So, Kiasu Design Life is 2 years plus already. Woo! I think the thing about podcasting is that it's a bit different on YouTube, because YouTube has a very well set up commenting system.
Yes,
whereas
correct.
Podcasting doesn't really have. So sometimes we may feel like we are just screaming into the abyss.
Yes.
Like, hi.
We feel a bit one-sided.
Yeah.
This is
so
a one-sided
we want to take this chance to just invite y'all to say hi on our Spotify. So I think Spotify is like the majority of the platform that our listeners are on. Yeah, so we are hoping for you to say hi, just for us to know who you are as a listener. If not, it's fine as well. You can just DM us and say hi as well. We would really love to know more about you.
One way also is maybe if it's easier while you are listening to us on your Spotify app, you can just take a screenshot and then tag us on Instagram. Then we will repost it.
Yes. Okay. So thanks for sticking through this episode. Hope it resonates with you. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.